Nice. So yeah, so my kind of definition of RC being this company that provides a set of tools to allow companies to train models efficiently and effectively. That is part of what you guys do. The second part, which we hadn't talked about yet in this episode at all, and so I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to make sure we got to it. Is things like this RC Spark model, your compact 7 billion parameter model that outperforms larger models like GPT 3.5 from OpenAI on some benchmarks. Super impressive. And I think that also is a nice segue into this general idea of small language models, SLMs. So you have the RC cloud and small language models. Can you elaborate on why you think smaller, more specialized SLMs are the future and how they compare to the utility and scalability of kind of foundation LLMs? So, your GPT-4, your Gemini, your Claude, those are foundation LLMs that, are useful in a broad range of circumstances. Can you elaborate on why you think smaller, specialized SLMs, small language models, are the future instead? And then maybe you can work in RC Cloud in the explanation of that transition.
Yeah, well, I'll start with RC Cloud. RC Cloud is being launched on Tuesday. So air date,
Today.
air date. Yes, air date.
Today, the
We're
air date.
live. We're live. So yeah, and our RC Cloud is just our offering. I had mentioned before, our offering. We go into customers' environments, we drop our software stack into their environment. RC Cloud is just a true SaaS, right? So it's we expose a true SaaS and allow people to come into our software and train and merge language models, right? The reason we wanted to launch RC Cloud is because launching inside a company's VPC is not always needed, right? Some companies don't need that level of security and they just want a quick, easy, fast way to go in and rip models, right? So in that case, we're launching our SaaS. And a bunch of other companies that are close to us don't have in VPC offerings, and they're very successful with a cloud offering. We figured we should get in the game of the cloud offering as well, and it can be extremely lucrative in that sense, right? So now, why SLMs, right? So it's kind of what we spoke about already. SLMs are more compact, more efficient, cheaper to train, and can be equally or more powerful on your specific task and use case if trained right? So why, have your 200, 300, 500 billion parameter model for your HR, use case as an example, okay? Or for your, customer support LLM. It's just not needed, right? So because you're going narrow with the use case and you don't want like a GPT like model that can do a million things for you, you have the ability to shrink that model size. And then by shrinking the model size, it comes with a bunch of different benefits that come with it, right? And I think that's just what we've seen, right? We've seen that we felt the pull for smaller and smaller to the point where now it's like on device, right? Or on edge, right? People are like, oh, okay, well, how can you run an LLM on the edge, right? How can you run it here and there? So I think it's just going to keep getting smaller and smaller to the point where remember when, yeah, maybe you don't remember, but when in the 80s, how big was the PC, how big was the server back then, right? And now you have a smartphone in your pocket that is how many thousand times more powerful than those computers back then. It's just the same. It's the same evolution, right? It's the same evolution because those gigantic models just aren't sustainable. So yeah, we're all about it. I mean, small is a subjective term. We actually think around the 70 billion and under, right? Is considered small to me, to us. So you could flex up to, Llama 3 70B, Quen 72B. They are extremely powerful. And then, flex all the way down to your Phi. What is Phi now? Is it 2 billion, 3 billion?
There are FIs that small, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. So, yeah, and in that case, imagine an organization that has 100 SLMs just humming, right, working on different tasks and different use cases, and all of them cost the same as hitting Claude at scale, right? You know what I mean? So, yeah, it just makes more sense.